Hello, we're live, and we're gonna start out by splattering our little mold here. So I have a little teeny bit of some extract. I just chose strawberry, just because it's nice, kind of subtle when it's splattered. You shouldn't really taste it. And grab a knife. And then we're taking either some black food gel or some brown food gel, and adding a little bit to our extract. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we're taking a, actually I'm gonna put some gloves on, hold on. Just in case, I don't wanna get my hands all splattered and stained for days. Okay, so taking a food brush, and then we're taking some of our food color mixture here. And we're gonna start just hitting the back of it over our mold. And I'm holding it probably about 4 to 6 inches above, so it gets a nice splatter effect. And see if you have a little bit more on there, it's gonna be a little bit bigger drops. And then when you get a little bit less on there, it's gonna have smaller drops, so you can kind of gauge how much you wanna load your brush beforehand.
That's really cool.
And then just keep going until all of them are done. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I think we're good on that. And then I'm just gonna take, I have this wet paper towel here, and I'm gonna gently kind of remove everything off of the top here. You could also do this afterward as well, but I just sometimes like to do it before I add my candy melts. If you wait until later, you can just pop everything out of the mold once everything is complete and do it then. Okay, so then we're just gonna take this and set it to the side for right now. And I also want to just clean that up. Fabulous. Okay, now we're gonna make our mixture while we let that set by using extract instead of water, for example. It should actually, it'll be easier for it to set essentially because the extract evaporates a lot faster than water. So for our filling, we're going to do a 1/4 cup here of white chocolate chips. And then we have a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. But in terms of ratios, which will make it a lot easier, I also have a cup of peanut butter. This is 1 to 1 to 2. So we want 1 ratio of this to 1 ratio of this, and then 2 of this. You can easily scale it if you want to make a bigger batch. I'm kind of making a smaller batch for right now. So we're just going to pour our heavy cream over our white chocolate chips. And then we're gonna pop this in the microwave for about 30 seconds, probably 45 seconds to start. We just wanna do small increments to make sure that we don't burn the chocolate, but that everything melts nicely. And while I'm thinking about it, let me grab my plastic wrap. Okay, so we have our peanut butter. We'll add that in just a sec. Let me see how much time. Just a few more seconds. Okay. Let's check on this. You could also do this over a double boiler or a bain-marie. Well, I just like to do the microwave because it makes it a little bit faster and easier, especially for such a small batch. We're just kind of mixing it around, checking to see if we see any clumps. I might want to do, I can see little pieces that are kind of melting, but not completely yet. So I think I might want to do another maybe 15 or 20 seconds. Obviously we don't need as much time because it is a smaller batch. I can see some little flecks in there that are kind of still hanging around, so about 15 seconds. Okay, I did 20 instead. Let me check the chat, making sure that I am caught up. We're good on that. Hope you're having a good Friday. Can't believe it's the weekend already again. That's hot. Ooh. Held it from the bottom, not a good idea. Okay, mix it up again, making sure we don't see any little pieces left of our white chocolate. Okay. I'm not seeing anything. I think we're good. So I'm going to grab my peanut butter and we're going to scrape it directly into our bowl. Scrape all the excess here. And this is a different type of peanut butter filling than typically you would see with, you know, kind of inspired by like a Reese's egg. It's more of like a peanut butter kind of ganache truffle type filling. That's my preferred filling for something like this. Bye. There we go. We're gonna mix it up. Just go mix, mix, mix until it's all combined. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I chose chunky for this one because that's what I had on hand, but of course you could use smooth to make it a smoother filling, or use the chunky for a little bit of texture. Perfect. It's well combined. Off. All right, we're setting that to the side, and we're going to take a little piece of plastic wrap here. And put it right over the top. But not only that, we're going to push it right along the top. just like that. And usually I would let this sit out for a little bit, but I'm gonna pop this in the fridge right now because we need this to cool for a little while, at least before we go before we put it into our shells, or else it's just gonna melt our shells. So pop it in the fridge. Okie dokie. I'm gonna get a smidge of water because my seasonal allergies are being a butt today. Okay. I think I saw a thing come in on our chat, so let me check that before I move on. This is where I make the mistake of let's go and end up microwaving it in increments of 1 minute instead of seconds. Yeah, don't do that or else it might burn. I do not recommend that. Okay, we're gonna start on our shells. I decided to do, we could obviously do pink or like any kind of pastel color really would be really pretty. I decided to go with more of like a blue shade. I had these turquoise ones I need to use, and then I decided because it's a little bit too dark, I wanted to lighten it up. So I did a 2-to-1 ratio of the turquoise to some bright white to help make it a little bit lighter, a little bit more closer to a pastel, hopefully. So let's start melting it and see if the color is where we want it to be. Once again, candy melts. Sometimes the bag recommends about a minute. For your first time, I just go 30-second increments until it starts to melt, and then I'll adjust it from there. Because again, we don't want anything to burn or else we gotta restart everything over and that's not fun. Make sure I'm good on the chat. Yes. Okay. Hello. My dog's staring at me like, give me attention. Okay, check that. Okay, and even though we can tell it's really not melted, maybe just a little tiny bit of melting starting, we have to give it a little zhuzh, little mix here, because we want to make sure, again, that they don't burn. And even if you just give it a little light mix, that's all you need to do. Another 30 seconds. Okay. Looking at our mold, I think it looks pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, it's still kind of setting a little bit. So that's why we started with that at the beginning, so it has some time to set the color a little bit better first. Okay. Another little mix here. And again, I just started with the 2-to-1 ratio of the turquoise to bright white candy melt. So if we need to add more, we of course can do that. Looks like the turquoise is melting a little bit quicker. It still definitely needs more time because you can see all those pieces still not getting mixed in there. So let's put this on for, I don't think quite 30 seconds. I don't want the pieces to burn. So let's do 20. 20 seconds on the clock. And I'm gonna grab some vegetable oil really quick. Okay, and I have the vegetable oil to help thin the candy melts just a little bit to get it to a better consistency for covering the mold. Okie doke. Still not quite melted, but it's getting there. And the color's better, but I do want it to be lighter, so I'm thinking maybe a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's mix in another 1/2 cup of bright whites. Just want it to be a little bit lighter, like kind of closer to like, you know, like a nice like spring colors. Not quite a pastel, but getting there. Okay, we're gonna mix that in there and then heat this yet again. Okay, let's do some more heating in the microwave. I'm gonna say about, you know, again, 20 to 30 seconds. I'm erring on the side of caution and going 20. Okay. Let's check it. Okay, still some pieces that definitely don't want to mix in, so we're going to do another 15-20 seconds or so. And good. Sometimes getting the last little bits fully melted can be a bit of a pain, but and like I said, I'm adding vegetable oil to it once it's completely melted. You can add other stuff like Easy Thin. I believe also something called Paramount Crystals. I've only ever used vegetable oil because we have it on hand just for other cooking purposes. So that's what I personally use. Ooh, this bowl's hot now. And sometimes, like I've mentioned before, some candy melts are actually a little bit of a thinner consistency when you melt them down just by themselves. Other times they're really, really thick, so I think that's why some of these pieces are having a hard time melting down a little bit. Let me see. I want it to stop moving. Yeah, see the white candy melts are the little pieces that do not want to melt. So these are the ones that are either really thick or sometimes some candy melts for whatever reason just have a harder time melting than others. Melt, darn you. Okay, these candy melts are not wanting to cooperate today. I can't coat it if there's little pieces. So one, okay. New idea. Since this one wants to be a butt right now, I am going to use some different candy melts. Okay, I've used these for many lives before, many things that I work on. So instead of those other candy melts, those ones are Wilton brand. Some brands besides my favorite ones, Ghirardelli. Some of the melts have a harder time, like I said, melting than others. So we're gonna go with these today. So about that much. With the candy melts, I'm always kind of just guessing how much I need, and then we can add more from there if we need to. So I'm gonna start with this let's do 45 seconds in the microwave. And for our color, I'm gonna finally get to try out my Lumo Comet Blue. I have to find how to get the tape off. Come here. Haha. Get off tape. Okay, let's give those candy melts a little bit of a mix. Okay. Let's do 30 seconds. Started with 45, now we're doing 30. And I'm finishing opening my Lumo powder here. There's a little sticker. I'm ever carefully opening. I should do it. Yay. So they pack them right to the top too, so you gotta be careful. Oop. See, these melted beautifully. I like to switch it up sometimes with the type of candy melts or melting wafers that I use, but I had a feeling that I would like this consistency a little bit better. Should have trusted my gut. Okay, so they're completely melted. We're gonna add some of our Lumo powder. And for this, you can probably find little specialty teaspoons or like itty bitty spoons, but I just use the tip of the back of my spoon here. And then add a little bit at a time, because we can always add more. I haven't used the blue one yet. I'm kind of excited. And I'm thinking kind of like a pastel blue. So that's the color I'm going for here. That is not going to be dark enough. So I mentioned this before, but when coloring candy melts, hello, how are you? When coloring candy melts, you want to use an oil-based color or powder color. Because stuff like what I used to do the splatter earlier, that is a water-based color, and it can actually make the candy melts seize, and then you can't use them. There have been some candy melts I've been able to get away with using the water-based color, but be on the safe side. This still needs more color. Let me make sure I haven't missed any other messages. I love your video so much. Thank you so much. Good, what about you? I'm pretty good today. Thank you guys so much for joining. We already have our filling in the fridge. We made that earlier. And we're just working on our shells now. Just trying to get the right color here. I think it's getting there. I'm kind of looking for again, like a nice light kind of pastel blue. I don't know if we're going to be able to exactly achieve that with the powder color because this is my first time using the blue powder. But we shall see. I can tell there's some little pieces of the color that are kind of clumping. There we go, I think I got this. Okay, do I want maybe just a little bit more. Teensy bit more, a little more color here. Yeah, this is closer to the color I was looking for. But don't also use those candy melts. I always make sure to find a use for things because I don't like to waste. I think I'll just need to work more on getting it to melt properly. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this color. I think it's pretty good. It's not as pastel, it's a little bit of a deeper color, but it's because of how dark this particular blue is. But I'm still happy with it. Oh, we're getting some comments in the chat. My apologies, the chat likes to go away from me, so I have to check it every so often. Can I have a shout out, please? Hello, Lexi. Can I say Ray? Hello, Ray. Again, thank you guys for being here on this lovely Friday. Okay, I think it looks like the color is all mixed in. I'm going to close up my powder because it's very easy to spill this stuff. I'm going to set that to the side. Okay. Thanks. You're welcome. Hello. Okay, so now we're going to add our candy melts to our mold. I actually have this extra little piece of parchment paper here that I'm going to set up over here, and you'll see why in a second. It's like at the end of the parchment paper where it just wants to keep rolling on itself. Stay. Okay. Here is our mold. We already splattered this a little bit earlier with some food gel color and also some extract. So it should mostly be set by now, I think. It's been sitting for a little while. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much set. Perfection. Okay, now we're gonna add some candy melts to each well of the mold. Such a pretty blue. I was almost able to match the mold color. 'Twas my intention. Gonna give it a light little swirl, but don't touch the sides because you don't want to accidentally mess up our splatter that we did. Can I have a shout out? Hello. Oh, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. I was at a weird angle. I couldn't see it. Yay. Just continue to fill all the wells. And we can go back to you. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. It's always so much more fun when I have some people talking in the chat. That was like almost the perfect amount of candy melts. I totally did that on purpose. Okay. We look pretty good. Set that over there. Can you say hi, Daisy? Hi, Daisy Lou. I'm not sure what this is. Hi, Daisy Lucy or hi, Daisy Lou. Okay. And with this, we're going to kind of gently tap our mold on the counter to help get rid of any kind of air bubbles. You're welcome. Just a tap, tap, tap. You can see our little air bubbles coming up to the surface here. This helps make sure it's a nice smooth surface. Can I have a shout out, please? What? Ah, it went away. There is not excellent. Okay, gotcha. Can I have a shout out, please? Ian? Oh, Ian, I got it. Okay, the Ian threw me off for a second, but hello, Ian. Okay, just keep tapping until it seems like all the air bubbles have gone away. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. So the reason I have this extra piece of parchment paper over here, I'll try and scoot it over so you can see. Just right here. Okay, you can kind of see it. I have this extra piece of parchment paper because we're going to flip it and shake. Shake, shake, shake. I want to be able to still work on my first piece. Of course, we just do this regularly on the counter, but out of habit, I work with either parchment paper on my surface or silicone mats. I just didn't have those out today. Just keep shaking until it seems like everything has come out, until there's a nice little shell on each. Looks like there's still a little bit more to do here. Okay, and then hold on, let me get my offset spatula. I'm gonna use the big one for right now. So I'm gonna flip it, and it's a lot easier if you have a polycarbonate thing because it's a flat, nice hard thing. This is silicone, but you can still do really cool things with silicone molds. So I think I'm going to go right over like that. And I have a little bit of, kind of stuff going like that. So I think some people do set them upside down to set, but I don't mind it because you're not going to see it on the outside. Just shake a little bit more if you feel like it. Shake, shake, shake. And one more like this. Perfection. Okay. We're gonna pop this in the freezer so that it sets. We can also kind of tap it a little bit to let the excess that's kind of coming down. Like that. And put it in the freezer. Awesome, awesome. And we're gonna move our blue melts over this way. And we have some chocolate melts that I've already melted before, but we're just gonna remelt them. Starting again at 30 seconds. And let me see, check the chat, make sure we get caught up. Oh, there's a few things in here. Hold on, let me scroll. What's my favorite color? I feel like it kind of depends. I do kind of gravitate towards purple because my mom's favorite color is purple. So of course she dressed my sister and I in purple all the time as kids. But I do like a purple, kind of like a lavender is really pretty. It kind of depends, I guess, on my mood. I also really like black with like rainbow on top of it. Like if I paint my nails, I can't just have a plain color. I love to do sparkly, glittery things on it. My favorite thing to bake. Great question. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ian the McFarland. My apologies. I always try to get names right if I can. I'm sorry about that. My favorite thing to bake. Let's see. I think once again that kind of depends on my mood. If you watch some of my content, you might see like more cookies at certain points and then more cakes or cupcakes at certain points. It kind of depends on my mood or what I have ideas for. Yeah, I mean, I like cookies because that's kind of how I started my interest in baking, was helping my mom decorate her sugar cookies for the holidays, which is literally just putting sugar sprinkles on top. But, oh, that was too long. Stop. There we go. So yeah, I think with baking things, it just kind of depends on what I have an idea for that I'm really excited about. And it just kind of changes depending on that, depending on the season. If it's summer, I have like the feeling that I really want to bake something, but it's too hot. So then I'll do like no bake stuff at that point. But yeah, I also, in terms of desserts, I love brownies and cookies, and I don't like cake as much, but I love decorating cake, if that makes any sense at all. Let me see where I left off. What's my lucky number? I have no idea, actually. I don't think I've ever paid attention to that, I guess. And what's your favorite animal? Of course, I like a bunch of different animals. Dogs, of course, cats, of course. One of my lifelong favorite animals has always been horses, and that probably comes from my grandfather. As far as I know, he passed away when I was really little, but his favorite animal were horses, and it seemed to kind of rub off even though I wasn't around him for very long. Just get my chocolate all melted. I may need to add, here, I'm gonna grab some more chocolate melts. I don't know if that'll be enough. Mixy mix and go back in there for, because the new melt's probably another 30 seconds. Off. Get off. There we go. Okay. 30 seconds and we have time to check the chat again. Rate my name out of 10, please be honest. I like the name Daisy. I don't know how to rate a name. I'll go with an 8. I think that an 8 or a 9 sounds like a good one for Daisy. I love your tie-dye cakes. Thank you so much. I'm so happy all of you are enjoying the tie-dye cakes. I just kind of randomly had an idea last year. I didn't really see cakes that to me felt like tie-dye, so I think that it just kind of came out of a combination of seeing some different techniques from people, and I'm really happy that you guys are enjoying them. I'm really having fun doing different color combinations, even though I have the comment sections being flooded right now with color combinations and suggestions, so I have to go through those and figure out which ones to do first. You're welcome. Your grandpa died last week. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. There's still a couple little pieces in here. Another 15 or 20 seconds. And we can also check to make sure our blue melts are setting completely. They should be, because it's a really thin thing in the in the freezer. Perfect. These look gorgeous. Lovely. I can set that to the side. And I don't think the melts. Oh, cool. I think I'll be able to use the same piece of parchment paper. So I'm scraping up these melts because once they set, stay down. Once they set, you can just break them into pieces back into the bowl and remelt them for more projects. Okay, the top isn't completely set. Okay, I need to wash my hands. Okie dokie. Alright, I'm just finishing scraping off the blue melts off of this piece of parchment paper because again we can use this for our chocolate melts. And this is, by using candy melts, it's kind of like a little cheat way of doing chocolates. You can definitely do tempered, but I just really need to work on my tempering. I haven't gotten it yet, but I think it's like right there. I just need a little bit of practice. Okay. Beautiful. These are completely melted, so we're going to do this. We could do a second layer of blue if we wanted, but I really like the chocolate for a little bit more chocolate flavor. So you can go either way with that. And we're gonna, once again, fill the molds, little wells of the mold. And let me see if I can check the chat simultaneously, if I can get in the right position. Did you do your phone's on 3%? Oh no. I'm the biggest bird. Hey, hello. Hello, it looks like Morgan. Thanks for joining. We're just filling each of these. Once again, making sure that we're not kind of mixing around too much because we don't want the heat from the chocolate melts to start to melt the blue melts. We want to make sure the blue is what we see on our final outer part of the product. All right, and once again, we're going to tap, tap, tap. Just get rid of some air bubbles. Still being really gentle about it. And this one wasn't too bad with air bubbles, so I'm going to bring this over here. And once again, we're gonna flip and shake. Try to get it where you can see it. Shake, 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 shake. A little bit more. Let me grab. Forgot to get the candy melts off the offset spatula, so we're just going to use my cake scraper here and do that. Let's do another little shake because it looks like there is some extra in there. Can you give my sister a shout out? Her name is Elodie. Hello, Elodie. I hope I said that right. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering names today. I always try my best not to. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna clean this off and do one more scrape. I want to pop that back in the freezer again. Clean enough. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna pop that in the freezer. And remove this. We'll let our chocolate melt set on the side because we can, of course, break those apart into little pieces and remelt. Okay, let me check the chat one more time before we're waiting for our chocolate melts to set. Oh, got back a little bit. I love donuts. Donuts are good. Especially, what's your favorite kind of donut? I feel like my go-to is always the old-fashioned one. There's something about the crust on those that's just really good to me. I play a game called Roblox. Oh, I've heard of that before. I did for 30 minutes and made them a bit too. Can you say hi, Poppy? Hi, Poppy. Yo, yes, you did. Oh, perfect. I'm so glad I said it right. Okay, let's get our peanut butter filling out to see how it's doing. Okay, usually I typically wait until it's fully, completely set, but this is actually perfect for a filling. It's nice and cool. It's not gonna melt our shells. So this is actually a pretty good consistency. And the reason, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, why I did the plastic wrap right along the top is to prevent that if you make like a homemade pastry cream or pudding or something like that, or a ganache, you have to put it right against the top or else there's like this weird skin that kind of forms. So that's why we do that, because the air, it helps make sure that there's no air touching it. I'm gonna take this off. Yeah, perfect, there you go. And like I said, it's not quite set, but it should actually work in our favor for piping the filling in. That way it won't be too thick. Okay, I think I'm gonna add this to a piping bag. I think that's gonna be a little bit easier. Okay, and I'm putting my piping bag on top of this cup because that makes it a lot easier for us to fill it. Okay, so we have our filling. Let's grab the stuff out of the freezer to check our shells. Beautiful, they're completely set just like we wanted. And I think for half of them, I'm gonna fill them so it's just a half egg, and then I wanna try to make a couple that are like a full egg shape. I haven't actually tried that before with this mold. I'm quite excited. I hope you are too. Alright, so we're taking our piping bag and we're cutting the tip off. I'm gonna cut about that much off because this is a thicker filling with pieces of peanut actually in it. So I'm gonna go probably about that much. You can always cut more if you need to. What I'm gonna do with this is test it by piping it right into the bowl. It comes out beautifully, so it's big enough. Okay, and I'm just gonna pipe into each well. For the ones where we're gonna be doing 2 halves together, I can fill it pretty much all the way. For the rest of them, I'm so sorry I have to go. No worries, thank you so much for joining. This will be available later if you do wanna finish, if you wanna watch it later and see how it comes out in the end. I'm filling these a little bit more. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 12, okay. So I can do 3 full-size eggs, which would be also adorable on top of a cupcake for a topper. Okay, so that's why I'm filling these ones a little bit more, like I said. These next ones, we're gonna fill it a little bit less so we have some space for the chocolate. See if we can kind of tap that down. Okay, that should be good. So our top 6 right here are gonna be the ones that we put together, and then these ones are the ones we're gonna put some chocolate on top. Okay. Oh, I had some blue powder on my scissors. There we go. Okay. So let's get my little offset spatula in case I need it. And some chocolate. So I always give it a little mix, see if it's, looks like it's pretty good. Yeah, I think I should be able to use this before having to remelt it or warm it up again. Just gonna put a little bit on top. You can fill it a little bit less to make it more flat. I always like to kind of push the bounds on the filling side of things because it's tastier. We're just gonna cover just along the top. Okay. Get a little tap if we want to kind of settle. And it looks like that's already setting. We can actually break that off afterward. I'm gonna pop this in the freezer just so we can pop these out and make sure that they don't break apart. Okay, so I think to do the shell combination, I'm gonna remelt our blue melts here. Yeah. Spoon got stuck. So I'm gonna remelt these, and this is how we're gonna combine the two together. We could do the chocolate, but it's gonna kind of highlight the, like it's gonna have like a ring of brown around the seam, and I want to try to make it as seamless as possible, so that's why we're gonna use the blue. Okay, in the meantime, check the chat, make sure I'm all caught up. Perfect. We're all caught up. Thank you guys for being so engaging in the chat today. I truly appreciate it. I always love chatting with you guys. Okay, what else do I need? Sometimes I like to use a food brush to add the candy melts along the seam, kind of like when making hot chocolate bombs, so I always like to have one of these on hand. Oop. And give it a mix. These melt so nicely. This is why I get a whole bunch of them when I find them on sale or at like a big bag of Sam's Club. That's where I usually find them if you're curious. But you can find them other places like Amazon or other stores, but I've only ever been able to find the gigantic bags at Sam's Club for a good price during like the fall time. Kind of when the baking season really starts to ramp up. Another 15 seconds should be good. And let's see how our stuff is doing. Beautiful. That gorgeous. Alright, we have our candy melts ready to go. And we're going to pop everything out of the mold. Oh, there's still a couple little unmelted pieces, so I'm gonna put that in there but not turn on the time yet for about 10-15 seconds. And let's pop out our little half ones. So carefully separate from the sides and then can pop it out. It looks so good. Yay! Some cute little speckled eggs. And these can be really great little treats in a treat box, or if you want to make a whole assortment, you can do different fillings with this, or even a cupcake topper would be adorable. Oh, I made the shell a little bit too thin on that one, so that's why you can see a little bit of the brown, but most of them are turning out pretty good. Last one of these. Okay, and because these aren't closed shells yet, we got to be a little bit more careful with taking these out. So once again, we're gently separating from the sides. And then we're going to gently pop it out. Yeah, I love the way the splatter turned out. And our last one. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Okay, so let me check the chat, make sure I haven't missed anybody. We're still caught up. Awesome possum. Okay, I'm gonna grab a heat safe plate. And I'm going to use my kitchen torch to heat it up. You can also use a pan on top of a hot plate or something like one of those little portable stovetop. Oh my gosh, what are they called? It's like an induction burner or something like that. But this is my preferred method. It's just really easy and I can easily transfer it, not burn myself, all that kind of fun stuff. But this is fire, so be careful. This is not for everyone to try. I'm just gonna gently melt, just to kind of get it. It's melting a little bit of peanut butter too, but that's cool. Just to kind of smooth out our shells a little bit on the perimeter. And it helps to kind of flatten our peanut butter as well, so win-win. So you can see the chocolate breaking away. We don't want it on here for too long. We just want to be able to, fire noted. We just want to be able to kind of remove that little excess bits of melt. I do the same method with my hot chocolate bombs. Okay, a couple more to go. This live is going a little bit longer than I expected, to be honest, but I've had fun. I hope you have too. I can kind of clean up the sides a little bit. I think I have one or two more. I'm back. Hello. Got all that chocolate on the side over here. Clean that up a bit. Okay, I think we got all of them, maybe. Except for that one, looks like we haven't gotten that one yet. Peanut butter and chocolate all over my fingers. Okay. Last one. This also helps to make sure that the peanut butter is flat enough so it'll actually stick with the other side and not be too much peanut butter. We don't want to melt it too much. And we can remove the excess peanut butter. Like that. And we can stick this to the side. Okie doke. Oh, on 15 seconds more on our candy melts, and then we'll be able to put these together. This one is like perfect. It looks like it was cut in half. Okay. Our candy melts are looking good. So we're going to use these to seal them and complete our full mini eggs. Okay, This should still work. I usually use this on a hot chocolate bomb, which is a little bit bigger. Let's see if you two go together. Yeah, looks pretty good. It's not going to be perfect. Actually, the first time I'm trying one of these, like I mentioned. Like I also mentioned, you can do other fillings on these. You could do a like Nutella type filling. I think it's a similar ratio. It's been a while since I've made that one, but I'm pretty sure it's a similar ratio like I used for this peanut butter one. Also, if you're allergic to nuts or anything like that, you could also do a cookie butter filling. I've done that before, and it's delicious. Okay, holding it together for a sec. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Okay. Come back. So unlike a hot chocolate bomb, we don't have to make sure it's perfectly sealed, but it looks pretty good actually. I'm just kind of cleaning up a little bit of this excess chocolate and peanut butter that got on here. But overall it looks pretty good. We could actually kind of clean it up a little bit more using maybe a little bit of heat and like our, how am I blanking on that name? Paring knife. But we have to be very careful, just kind of like cutting along this seam and kind of almost melting it. But I think it looks pretty good as is. What do you guys think? Do you like the full egg? Full egg or half egg? Which do you prefer? And see, some of the stuff is still getting on here, but it's mostly set. So that's another reason, again, why I'm wearing my gloves right now. I don't always wear gloves, but especially when working with some chocolate candy melt type stuff and also food dyes, or because I've made the mistake of not using gloves and then my fingers are dyed for days, even as much as I wash them. Both. You prefer both? Yes, I like both too. Thank you, sister. Okay, we're still caught up in the chat. I'm gonna finish these off. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'm gonna stay on to finish these. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I do have my last tutorial video for Easter related stuff coming out. I'm aiming for probably this evening or tomorrow morning at the very latest. It's some kind of easy last minute cupcake decorations for Easter. And then if you love the tie-dye cakes, I do have one coming out this weekend. It's not Mini Cake Monday, but it's a bonus cake. Just again holding it, and then we can also kind of wipe the excess that kind of comes out. And again, ooh, it slid. I'm moving too much. Hold it. We want to hold it just long enough to be able to let it set, but not so much that we're going to start melting it with our hands. This always makes it difficult for stuff like this during summer because, oh my goodness, it's so hot. Okay, we got one more to go. And like I said, with this, you can kind of clean it up a little bit more. Oh, I want to seal that just a little bit. Another benefit of wearing gloves, I can just smooth it with my finger if I'm wearing my gloves. I like that. Keeps wanting to open up back here and close. I like that. And one more. Let me see if anybody popped up with any questions. We are good. Like I mentioned, this is a great no-bake treat for Easter. And they do take some time, but not as much if you have to like rush to bake something. This is just a nice alternative. And who doesn't love a peanut butter egg for Easter? Cool, cool. And put them together. Let's let that sit by itself. Okay. So there we go. There's our full eggs. And then here are our little half eggs. Like I mentioned with this one, you just got to make the blue a little bit thicker so that that chocolate doesn't peek through. But most of them worked out quite nicely. What do you guys think? And if you make anything that you see from my channel, I would love to see it if you post it on social media. We don't have any questions. Okay. We're good. Thank you guys so much for being so active in the chat. I really appreciate it. So fun talking to you. And thank you so much for joining to see our lovely Easter egg love. Thank you. Thank you, sister. Thank you guys so much for joining to see the peanut butter Easter eggs. And like I said, keep an eye out for that tutorial because that is coming. Of course, some more shorts videos before Easter as well. And then next week, if you are joining for the live, I will be moving that to probably Tuesday, I'm thinking, because next Friday is my birthday. So I am going to move it up a little bit in the week so we can still do a live. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great weekend and I will see you very soon with more videos. Thank you so much. Bye.